Hi, I'm Ann Coulter. Welcome to my Substack. I am very excited to have today Scott Adams, the creator of Dilbert cartoon, after working at, well, I guess you're from upstate or mid-state New York, and then went to work for Union Pacific, whatever was the inspiration for Dilbert. Got up at 4 in the morning while working there and made fun of office life in very hilarious ways, to the point that you became like the biggest cartoonist in the universe, syndicated in 800 newspapers. I don't think there are 800 newspapers anymore. And then, I don't know, sometime recently you were canceled, which I don't know if you're bored with it. If you want to talk about it, you can. There are other things I want to talk to you about, but welcome, Scott Adams.
Thank you. And it was Pacific Bell and Crocker Bank. They were my big businesses. Didn't work out.
And did they really? I haven't been in an office. I was thinking about this, looking at some of your cartoons and your inspiration. Did they really engage in that annoying corporate speak with and we're getting all new versions of it, every industry. The media has it. What's the one they do now? Mindfulness, inflection points, all of this jargon drives me nuts. And you were at the heart of it, right?
Yeah, that was the sort of the thing that made Dilbert take off, because I got to mock the things that people wanted to mock. I always say that writing is about saying what people are already thinking, but you write it better than they were thinking it. You're great at that, by the way. Well, you're one of my favorite. You're one of my favorite writers in the world. I just had
Thank you.
So it's mostly signaling, it's people just peacocking, and it has more to do with making other people feel like they don't know what's going on. I remember the first several weeks in the new corporation, and the whole meeting is, well, we got the RGB system. It looks like it's not talking to the GPT, but I'm going to talk to the APT, and it just goes on. And you just think, how long before I know anything that happened in this meeting? It takes months. It's months. Yeah, it's probably one of the most annoying things. But as long as it makes you look good, people are going to keep doing it. It's not going to stop. So you just have to live with it. I'll tell you one.
Go ahead.
Once I decided I was going to leave, or could leave anytime I wanted, once the comic started working out, all that stuff just became fodder for the comic. So it went from the most annoying thing in the world to, oh, can you do that again? Oh, can you do a little more of that? I'm taking notes. This is great. So it all became very pleasant toward the end.
And it's gotten much worse, actually, with all of the, well, what I call DIE, for die, all of this, the diversity jargon nonsense. It's incomprehensible. I was reading about, for my column this week, something they call restorative justice, trying to figure out exactly what it is, and it's nothing but BS jargon.
Right. By the way, the new DEI thing is didn't earn it. That's so people have been playing with the DEI, trying to put different words into the letters. But I'll tell you, that one's really sticky, because that one goes right to the core. It's like, oh, that's ugh. Yeah, that's a good example of what people are thinking. But until you say it just the right way, they go, oh, that's it. That's what I was thinking. Yeah. So the DEI, the reason you invent language is to try to word engineer something that doesn't make sense into something that does make sense, or appears to make sense, through the magic of combining words. The people who don't do that are the smart ones. The Elon Musk or something. You see the smartest person explain something, they don't use those words.
Yes.
There's almost a perfect correlation between how, let's say, uncertain you are about your own job,
Yes.
and how much of the jargon you need. You just don't see the jargon when you're talking to the smartest people. It just doesn't happen.
That's a really good point. Yeah, you're right about that. There was a jargon question you just reminded me of. Okay, we have mindfulness, inflection point in this space. Oh, I know. I was going to say about the didn't earn it people. In a way, I prefer that they were like your bosses in Dilbert, and that is, just your standard government job, no-show job. You show up, you watch TV all day. No, it's worse than that. They come into work to get stuff done and ruin people's lives. Okay, let's get all the white men, fire them.
Yeah, you don't want energetic idiots. Like you want nice lazy ones, sort of like Wally in the comic strip. Those are the ones you want. Yeah. But and it's never been different than 10% or 2% are doing all the things that change the world, and everybody else is punching the ticket and trying to survive until the next day. So when you see somebody like well, speaking of Musk again, getting rid of 80% of the ex-Twitter employees, no difference. That, to me, that's the greatest story of the last 20 years, that somebody could fire 80% of a major company. No difference. That, in fact, the rate of innovation just went through the roof. They just got rid of all the dead weight, and suddenly they could parallelly make decisions and engineer things, and it's never been better.
That's a really great point. That probably is one of the most important events in the last year. What kind of depressed me about hearing about what corporate America was like, since I worked at a few law firms, and fortunately that was not very long. So I have very little experience with office work. But I gotta say, Scott, I am disappointed in white men. My sense is that back in the 70s and 80s, a lot of what you're talking about are a lot of white men. They're doing this? I mean, I expect it from MSNBC.
But do you think that the white men are the primary cause? I've been making some noise lately saying that the biggest problem is batshit crazy women on the left.
Wanted to ask you about that.
Yeah, I thought that might come up. Yeah, I think that we make the mistake of treating everybody's opinion like it's an opinion, when so often it is literally mental health. And you can see it in the eyes. I always talk about the saucer eyes. The people when they're talking to you, and they got to show all the wrinkles, and yeah, it's true. Everything I'm saying is a real thing. It's like that. And you look at them and you go, well, that's just mental health. That's do I need to take that seriously? Am I supposed to play along? What do I do with this? And you've probably noticed that the Democrat Party has become essentially a feminine model of success.
Yes.
Now, the problem is the success strategy that men should and do mostly apply is different than what works for women. So the victimization thing completely works for women and children because they have less muscles. So they developed other strategies, presumably, with evolution and all that. But men, our best strategy is not victimization. Because if I see a man complaining about the bump he hit in the road, I just think, well, you're pathetic, and I'm going to remember that. And when you're applying for a job, I'll remember you couldn't overcome obstacles, right? So it's not to say that we don't all have obstacles, but why are some special?
Yes.
But I'm 5'8", and I was bald in my 20s. You think that worked for me? No, no, that was not working for me at all. So, we all got our thing, but what I try to tell people is, if you learn basic rules of success, and I always just jokingly say, ask any Republican. They've all figured it out. There's a set of things that work, and then they just do those things. And if you don't know what to do, you can call any Republican anytime, anywhere, and they'll drop what they're doing and say, yeah, I'll give you some advice. I used the example the other day. If you're thinking of dropping out of school and getting a face tattoo, before you do it, before you make the leap, just talk to at least one Republican. That's all I ask. Just get one Republican's opinion, and just know that they have figured out the things that work, and just do what they do. That will work. So when I see anybody complaining about something, the legacy of the past influencing them with their systemic racism stuff, I don't care if it's true. That is completely the wrong conversation.
Yes.
Yeah. How about we sit down and talk about my health problems, and the time I got some trauma when I was 12 years old, and I'll compare mine to yours, and then we can figure out who's got the most problems. and then we'll give extra stuff to whoever has the most problems. Literally, nobody thinks that's a good idea.
You can watch complete episodes of Unsafe with Ann Coulter by subscribing to anncoulter.substack.com. That's anncoulter.substack.com. You can also listen to complete episodes for free at Ricochet.com. Choose Unsafe from the pull-down menu at the top of the page. That's Ricochet.com, your home for civil center right conversation on the web.